and just using music to influence how the special needs child is developing, how they're coping with society, and how they're also coming into themselves, bringing out the independence within that child, and also showing the society that these children are capable of so much more than they know and that we give them credit for.
Hello viewers, my name is Wanjogonderi, and a while back we talked about music therapy. We didn't talk about it in depth, and that's why I felt the need to get another guest who will explain how she uses or how her institution uses music to enhance the quality of life for people who are living with disabilities, developmental disabilities to be precise. I'll ask her to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Joanne Karanja. I am the founder of Music in Color, and what Music in Color is basically, it's a passionate teaching course that changes the world of the special needs community through rhythm, music, perception, color, and just using music to influence how the special needs child is developing, how they're coping with society, and how they're also coming into themselves, bringing out the independence within that child, and also showing the society that these children are capable of so much more than they know and that we give them credit for. Yes.
Like, what facets of music are you using, and what do they do?
So we use all phases of music, from dancing to listening to group sessions. There's also the one-on-one playing of instruments, which is just the most powerful of all the activities that we do, where they come in and learn actually how to read music through their own individual way. We come up with a way for them to actually learn the information, how to now process the information that music has to offer, and they're able to play such complex musical pieces, and they are truly gifted in it. And with the group sessions, what we have seen is that it also helps them manage their emotions, learn how to work hand in hand with each other, with the society as a whole. So basically every part or every facet of music is very important, from the singing to listening to dancing, and also now playing musical instruments and learning how to read music.
What form of disabilities are you dealing with in this institution?
So we work with children with autism on the autism spectrum. We work with children who have Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, dyslexia, and it's children from severe to mild. Yes, so there's no section. So those are the categories that we work with.
So you're telling me that even if I have a severely autistic child and I bring them to you, they're going to come out of here like having been influenced by music?
Yes.
And assuming now this is someone who is severely autistic, what do you do? Like if I bring that child to you today and tell you I want you to incorporate my child into your system, what is the first step that you do?
So the first step that we take is assessment. We want to know how severe is your child and in what areas. Is it the focus? Is it how they react to touch? Is it how they react to sound? Is it how they react to light? And all this we bring in to see then how can we communicate with them, because it's not about it's not about us teaching them our language, it's about us learning their language. Because especially children with autism, they have trouble bringing you into their world. They're in their world of their own. And that is what we always try to endeavor. At least within the first month, we are trying to get into the world of that special needs child, of that autistic child. Because it is from there that now we are informed on how now to input the knowledge that we want them to learn. And it is from, if they love singing, based on our assessment, if we realize that they love singing, then that's how we're going to approach them. If we realize that they love dancing, that's how we're going to approach them. So it's coming from a point of knowing the child to also now knowing how to work with the child, how to help now music do what it is supposed to do. So the first step of the first stage of our program is assessment. Yes.
And you are the guys who assess, and you have other people who assess?
So we only assess based on music.
Yes.
You have to go through, a qualified assessor to now come in and tell you that my child has autism or your child has whatever condition that it is. You have to go through a professional assessor that can be found in KISE, that can also be found in this institution. And so we only assess based on music. Yes.
Also, now you take time to like understand what that child loves, the aspect of music that the child loves.
Yes.
Okay, now the next question. Okay, the next step after assessing then.
So now after assessing, we come up with a program that the child is to follow based on what the assessment has brought in, teaching them based on their favorite thing.
Yes.
You know, there's always that one thing that that child is obsessed with, whether they saw it, you know, during their early years or they picked up on. So it can be color, it can be blocks, it can be, you know, the songs that they listen to when they're young on the phone. So once we have come up with that, then now we start teaching them how to play the piano. We always start with the piano as a first, mostly because it really engages both hands, it really engages the fine motor skills, and because of the different textures in the sound that the piano has, it really comes in to help the child control their emotional self, and which is the most important place, because being able to control your emotion is what helps you now communicate with the society, communicate with the world around you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now, again, you talked about the piano and the motor skills. I'm still like this person who is severely autistic. The reason why I'm dwelling on this person who is severely autistic is because of an assumption that they cannot, they are going to be dependent on someone. Because you know, if you're mild to moderate, then there's an assumption you can do something for yourself, right? So let's say you have this severely autistic child, and maybe they needed physiotherapy, but they haven't been able to acquire physiotherapy. So we are assuming that the ability to move their fingers is not up to, you know. So how do you deal with that? Do you also incorporate these children, or do you leave them out?
No, we incorporate them because as much as the condition has affected the body, music has the ability to communicate with every part of the brain. And the brain being our CPU, it means it controls every function that we have. So even if the child, for example, has severe cerebral palsy and, you know, their fingers are really, you know, deformed, so to speak, the ability to just use one finger to just play one note and be able to move to the next and to move to the next, it does something to the brain. It wakes up the motor cortex of the brain, and what it does, that it begins to translate to everything else that they're doing. If they're weakest on the left side, then that left side begins to awaken. Even if they're just playing with that one finger, that one finger does a lot for the rest of the body. For a child who has a problem with concentration, you know, they cannot be still for more than 5 minutes. That is what we are working towards. We work from moving to a minute to 2 to 5. Soon you see that child is doing 30 minutes, they're doing 1 hour, they've been able to calm themselves down, they're able to control themselves. So that is what we do with children who are, you know, a bit more severe. We work with small milestones, step by step.
In your career, what are the most successful stories that you've had?
I've had quite a few.
The ones that you can remember.
I can remember. I think my very first child that I dealt with, he was mildly autistic. He had a bit of dyslexia, dysgraphia. You know, there was a combination of quite a number of things. And once we started learning music, in fact, he's the one who gave birth to how our technique of teaching is right now. And he had a lot of problems focusing. He loved swimming a lot, but he could never finish the race because his mind would wander in the midst of the swimming competition. But once we started learning music, I think into our 3rd month, his focus became better, and he was actually able to do a whole swimming, you know, competition without stopping in the middle. And then it ended up translating into his classwork. You know, there was so much change in how he did his work, and moving now from the first instrument that we had started with, which was the recorder, to the piano, and just seeing how powerful music is in terms of, you know, helping his fine motor skills, which was also really challenging for him, because when we were playing the recorder, he'd have to use his right hand to help his left shift. Within a few months, he was able to move his fingers quite well. By the time we were moving to the piano, he was a beautiful pianist. And, you know, he left and went to South Africa, and he's continuing with his education, but it did so much. So that was one with autism. I had another one with autism, and he loved just listening to classical music, and that is where we began. But by the time we were an year into his program, he could sit down for a full hour and play more than 5 songs, and be able to actually focus on what that he's doing. And that was an uphill task, getting him to an hour of focus. And he did so much in everything else. It went from being, for the parents especially, from having a challenge in going out with him, to a public place, to him being very calm. Any place, if they took him in a place where there was music playing in the background, he was just serene. He would just listen to the music, and you could see the difference in him. I had another one with cerebral palsy, and I think that was the most powerful in how music affected him, because he was in a wheelchair, and he could play. His right hand was okay, but he was really affected on the left. So once we began, learning the music, the first thing that it did is that it changed how he enjoyed his physiotherapy. Because his other therapist would tell me he now looks forward to his sessions. He's much happier in, coming in and doing anything else. So the joy that he got from just learning the music translated into everything else. And then it also now, that's when I actually began engaging with other professionals. I wanted to know, is music doing something? What is the scientific, what is the word I'm looking for?
Theory.
The
scientific
proof.
Okay.
The scientific proof of what music is doing, because there's so much theory behind it, and there are also experiments that have been done that have shown.
And what was your finding?
The left side woke up. It was much stronger, and this I got from the physiotherapist. He told me the left side has always been a challenge for us to work, but when he began just playing, and he would have you'd see him want to bring, because it's already bringing in the shoulder. It's working the first finger, the second finger, the third finger. As mangled as it was, it would still try and straighten. And it was so powerful in seeing music do that, because that is the power of music that we're still yet to understand, how it's able to tap into the brain in such a powerful way and influence, the parts of the body that might be struggling.
And awaken them.
Yes.
So we've talked about these individuals who have muscle, maybe in coordination, and they are struggling to play the keyboard. Then we have this person who is very fast, and now you need to calm them down to be able to play the instrument. Like, I'm curious to know, what is the technique? Is it that you talk them into it for them to slow down? Like, how do you start? Because even if we find something they're interested in, it doesn't mean they're going to sit down now the whole time because you found something that interests them.
That is true.
Like, what are the tricks that you employ to lure them to concentrate?
Well, I'll begin with how to work with an autistic child. Autistic children like firm, clear instruction. Okay, and you have to repeat the instruction until they cooperate. So that is in how you're dealing with the child verbally. But where now the power of music comes in is that the interesting thing about children with autism is that their brain is always on, and it runs very fast, and it's always thinking about a zillion things at the same time. We experience it ourselves as regular people, we just don't notice it. And I think the best example I can give is when you're trying to go to sleep and your brain won't quiet. Now imagine that's an autistic child throughout. It never quiets. Now music has the ability to quiet the mind, the prefrontal cortex. When a child is learning, when we are learning music, the prefrontal cortex, the front part of the brain that deals with logic and so much thought, it quiets down for that period of time that they're learning. And to them, that is just a beautiful escape. It's a beautiful, retreat from all the noise and all the thinking. And so the minute they begin to experience that when they're focusing on that note and then they hear the note, okay, it quiets the mind, and the more they repeat, the calmer it becomes. So that is how it ends up. That's how you end up translating from 5 minutes to 30 minutes of focus time, because the mind finally realizes they have an escape from the night, from
this
the
is
noise.
New. This is strange.
I want to go there. At least I have time where I'm not in my head. And it translates to so much when they're in class, when they're at home. Playing music, especially once they start learning the instrument and they begin, interacting the different sounds. When you start playing music, then it just it lights up. Yeah.
And how many kids who are living with autism do you have?
That I am dealing with currently, we are at 20 now.
Down syndrome?
Down syndrome, 3. Those ones are less.
Cerebral palsy?
1. Right
Dyslexia?
now. Dyslexia, we have 3. Yes.
I'm just asking those questions so that someone who's feeling like we've dealt so much on
Yeah,
autism does not feel like we have left them out. Do you
Yes.
have any people living with who have ADHD?
Attention deficit hyperactive disorder, yes. Yes. And it's tricky.
Yes.
Because those are the people that you don't think have, they
Yeah.
have anything. and they're the brightest people. But yeah, we actually do deal with them. And learning music again, that's sitting down and just focusing on a pattern. And also that's the fun part about music. It's patterns.
Yeah.
It's different patterns every day. It's different puzzles every day for you to figure out. So somebody who has a brain that is really running, they're looking towards that because your brain is working at a high speed, trying to figure out what it is that you're playing. But in just that one task. And it's fun. It's fun for the brain because music is the equivalent of a full body workout for the brain.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the equivalent. Learning to play an instrument, that is the equivalent.
Yeah.
So for a brain that is just constantly running and thinking, and when it finds just that one thing where it can focus on and still do a lot, then it's happy. Yeah. And that is what helps them calm down. And you'll see once they're getting into a situation that their focus wants to, disappear, then they'll go back and remember a piece that they were playing. That's what the brain does. It begins to learn how to calm itself down. Yes.
Okay. This music in color. How did you coin the name music in color? What's the theory behind music in color?
There is a group of people in the world that see sound. Whenever
Like see sound?
Yes. They see sound in color. Okay, whatever, like the noise that is around us right now, that person would be able to see it in different rays of color. They're called synesthesias. And I think that is just the best condition to have.
That's too much noise in one.
But you can imagine the beauty that surrounds you because we're surrounded by sound.
Yeah, I'm already fascinated to imagine like the way that kid is calling out. That's a color.
There's a color to it. There's a shape to it.
Yes.
Some of them see it in shapes. But that is where the idea came from. That there's a part of music that we don't see, and that's the colorful aspect of it. And even scientifically, every sound has a color attached to it. Yes. So that is where music in color came from, and also how we teach. Because there's something powerful about color, in the sense that when you're trying to read or you're trying to remember something, you highlight.
So that you don't forget. You diarize,
because the color just, it grasps the attention of the mind. So even when we're beginning to teach a child how to learn an instrument, we start with color. Yes.
So you like try to see if they identify these colors or the colors fascinate them.
Yes. Also in seeing, there are children who won't have the ability to see differences, but they can tell a difference in color. You see? So those are the things that we work on. Can you see if there's a situation where the color is not striking out, then you add a number, or you add a letter. But the color has to be there. Why? Because of the attention it calls to the mind. Yes. Okay. And then it makes it fun. That's why you watch cartoons. Cartoons are colorful. You can imagine a black and white cartoon.
It will be boring.
That's why nurseries are colorful because color also excites. So the easiest way for the brain to learn is when it's having fun. And that is why for any child, whether regular, whether special, the easiest way, even for us grown-ups, when you're trying to learn something, make it fun. All right? So that is why we use color at the beginning, color and sound. When children are growing up, they're listening to Cocomelon, there's color, there's sound, all the songs are there. And most actually special needs kids, they're on it as well. They like the songs, they like the color. So why would you make it difficult for the brain to learn? And that is where we come from. So they're learning so much, but in a fun, engaging way.
And then today is a lucky day for us to come and record this show because you guys are having a recital. So this recital, is it strictly for the children who have these disabilities, or is it both neurotypical and people who are the children who have the disabilities?
So the recital is mostly for the center we are in right now, Nairobi Intervention Center, and it is a center that caters to only now children who have a neurodiversity. And that is what the recital is for.
So you're telling us you're going to be seeing people who have various conditions playing the instrument?
Yes, playing the piano, playing different pieces, playing complex pieces.
Yes.
And the best thing about it is that the recital will show how they move from one, phase to the next. It's gradual. Like this is where we start, this is the intermediate, and this is the advanced. And even how complex the pieces are. And we are excited for the parents to see just how talented, their kids are. And also the group singing, how the group singing has been playing out. It has done something so powerful to this institution. And in terms of in the morning, when we used to come in the morning, there used to be a lot of screaming and children just fighting the fact that they're going to class. But the minute we introduced the morning musical lessons, it quieted down. And it was really, really nice. So we are excited about our first recital. It's going to be annual. This is the first. This is the very first one, yes, because this is our first year in this institution. So it's going to be the first one and many more to come, we hope.
And let me ask, for someone who is wondering about what Nairobi early intervention is all about, please explain expressly.
I think it is also in the name, early intervention. It's an early intervention center. Because early intervention is actually very, very important, especially to any child with a special condition. Because the longer you take to now teach them, activities of daily living, speech, physiotherapy, the longer you take, the harder it is for the brain to pick up on what it needs to. Because at the end of the day, there will not be a different world created for these children. They still have to live in the world that we are in now. And what this center does is that it now comes in and teaches all those. They have speech therapy, they have physiotherapy, they have skating. And this especially the what we call extracurricular activities, which should be co-curricular activities, do a lot in the development of the child. So that is what they really work on, the early intervention of that child. Because the longer you take to reach a child with a neurodiverse condition, the harder it becomes, to now bring them in. Because when you wait until they are grown up, their mind is set, There's a reason they say it is hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Yes.
It actually applies
the
quite.
Was already conditioned.
And early intervention is really, really, really important. And having now music in the early intervention, that much more powerful. And that is the most wonderful thing about this institution, is how they're incorporating so much into helping the development of the child. Yes.
So now, Nairobi early intervention and music in color, how do the two come together?
It's a partnership. It's a partnership in working towards, bringing in the development of the child to its fullest. Because having early intervention without music, music is early intervention. We speak it before we can speak. We actually begin to hear music when we are 16 weeks in the mother's womb, before we even out. So music is already in play in how it is affecting the development of the child. So bringing in music to this center has just been that much more powerful in helping the development of the children here. The child that was having focus and being a bit more troublesome in class, music comes in and makes that much better. So music has come in to complement what already this center had, and in such a beautiful way.
So basically what I'm getting is the center has physiotherapy, speech, for early intervention. But there is now the need to blend in music, which was the first language for the child when they were in their mother's womb. And then to make a complete early intervention package. Okay. Assuming a parent is watching this and for some reason they're not able to access music therapy or come here to access the services that you offer, what would you advise them to do?
Have music in your life. Sing instruction to your child. Play music in the morning, Good, slow, quiet, calming music. Get music in the routine of your life. Why? Because it talks to the child in a way that you can't. Okay, so even when it's time for bed, have that one song that you always play when it's time for bed. Soon it will ease the child to sleep. When you're noticing that the energies are up, that is the best time to have a dance. Have a 1 hour and just dance with the child. Even if that child is in a wheelchair, they can move their hands, they can shake their head. It will excite them. And those feel-good hormones that music helps produce when we are listening to music, when we are playing to music, it translates to a good day for both you and your child. So have music in your life. 5. Okay, just you buy a drum, let the child beat once in a while. Buy shakers. Okay, you don't have to be a certified music therapist. Music is it's always around us. It's therapy in itself. Okay, you don't need to help it alone. It knows what it's doing. So sing to the child, listen to the child, see how they react to music. You see what they like, what they don't like. Be very attentive to their needs and how, what kind of music that they like. But let music be a force in your life. Let it be your daily routine, and you will see just how it changes. Yeah, it changes the child.
Okay, so I feel like we've talked about, unless there's something you feel like we have left out that you need to mention. Is there your social media handles, for instance?
Oh yes.
And if someone wants to make an appointment with you, where they should go?
Okay. Facebook, we have MIC YouTube page. On YouTube, we also have the Music in Color page. Our Instagram handle is also there, MIC Kenya as well. It's the same for Facebook and Instagram. And we also have our website where you can get all our information, and if you want to book an assessment, you can book it there as well. That is www.musicincolor.info. So you'll be able to access us there. You'll get all our contacts, and we can reach out from there.
For the sake of people who might watch this video and not have time to go to the website, please leave a number that they can call.
You can reach us directly on 0711 870 577. Yes, and we'll get right back to you.
Okay. I feel like we haven't even talked about a lot. I feel like there's so much that we have left out. So we need to make an appointment. We spend the day here, and then we show the audience what they have to get when they come to this institution. So that is it for today. And we hope you've learned a thing or two. We also hope that you will check this institution out to see the services that they offer, and to also see if maybe one or two of their services can suit the needs of your child. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comment section. If you want to book an appointment, the contacts of Joanne are running here, and we're also going to leave them in the comment section. So until then, be safe and make good choices.